I created a platform which can generate videos like this.
The city never sleeps, but she does. Her family's darkest secret. Reflections of the past. A portal to welcome to Ravenswood Manor, where terror lurks within. Sarah's curiosity
and the best part is it is running completely local on the system right here without using any online services. So this is going to be more like a devlog video where I'll be capturing the whole journey of designing the system, implementing it, and debugging the issues, which there were a lot of. So this video is going to be very slow paced, and it would give you a lot of insights on how a product is being developed right from scratch. And if you're someone who wants to get into AI, this is a must watch. And if you're someone who is not worried about the low level details, don't worry. I have a video coming out for you, which is high paced and super high level. Onto the devlog. So I want to build this tool which can automatically create short form content and publish it to YouTube. So why do you want to build this tool? Maybe I've been seeing a lot of Faceless YouTube channels, and I'm just curious as to how can I create one for myself. Probably there is a lot of tools out there which I can pay some small fees, start generating those content. But I want to actually build this for myself. I want to use AI and get comfortable with building with AI. So this would be more like a starting point for me. My primary thought process going into this is I want to try out a certain set of tools, which is one Innate-N, which is a workflow orchestrator kind of a thing, which can also integrate really well with AI. So Innate-N is something that I want to use, or I want to use open source AI models as much as possible, rather than using something closed source and paying extra for OpenAI, Claude and stuff like that, right? With that being said, so let's get on to the architecture side of it. What do we want this project to do? I want this project to actually let users select a theme, and the tool generate a video that fits the theme and publish this video to YouTube. Okay, yeah, that's a high level requirement, or the theme of this tool. But let's talk about how we are going to get there, right? So here's the user flow that I'm expecting, right? So one, user selects a theme. Two, this is optional, by the way. Let's call it P1, where user selects voice. User selects voice. Maybe, yeah, user selects voice, and then tool generates a script for tool generates video or audio for the script. Tool generate video for generate the video, and the last step is send a video for review. And this might be an optional step for now, maybe I just want to see the video, right? Video for review in let's say Telegram, and then the last step is actually publish the video. So this is a high level flow that I'm expecting from this tool. And move to the architecture. I think draw.io is a better fit for doing the architecture. So let's go to draw.io. I've not thought about a name for this tool yet, so I'll be just calling it video generator. The high level building blocks for this is I want a UI, which is, let's say, UI which users can use, and say I need a Python backend, any computations or something like that. Python fast API service. But my mental model is that I want to keep this fast API service as lean as possible, and I will have Pocket Base, which is more like a platform as a service, it has its own database. I can like directly interact with the database from the UI and stuff like that. So it makes a lot of like the database related things much more easier for me to build. I don't have to think about having my own database server, like interacting with that from my Python API, and like creating CRUD APIs for all of those like tables. So those are, and those everything is like provided to me by Pocketbase. So yeah, we have it here, and I need an orchestration tool to kind of send this video, once you generate this video, send it to Telegram for review, and once it is reviewed by Telegram, maybe publish it to YouTube and whatnot, right? I need an orchestrator, and I need a service which can generate video, right? How am I going to generate the video? I'll talk about it, but I need AI services or AI service, which would be Olama for like generating the script and such, and then Comfy UI to actually do run diffusion models, run Hunyan video models if need be, right? Cool. So this is my high level architecture, and my UI would be interacting with the Python backend primarily and the Pocketbase, and the orchestrator would be interacting with the Python service, orchestrator service, and the AI models. Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking, and definitely the UI would also need to interact with the orchestrator model. Remove the overlap so that it's a little bit more easier to understand, right? Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. Should it ever hit the fast API server, I would say let's remove that dependency so that it's a little bit more easier, and anything and everything that needs to happen, it will go to the Pocketbase API, or if there is something that needs to be orchestrated, that will go to the orchestrator, and then that will come from here, right? I might not give the UI direct access to the orchestrator. I might create a layer in between, depending upon further deep dives. Basically, I don't know if it is if there is a way to control access. If not, how instead of this, it will look like going to here, and then this will connect to back to the orchestrator, right? Just pass through. This would be more like a pass through where I can have the access controls and everything in place, right? So I think potentially that might be the thing. It might not be. I might not be connecting to the orchestrator directly because it does not have a concept of users and other things, right? So let me delete this, and I think this is what we'll be going to do. Yeah, let's go one level deeper. I just want to map out the workflow and then understand what the tables that we have, right? So the workflow would look something like this. So the start is here, video generation workflow. Right, so this is a video generation workflow. I might have a separate workflow for the actual publishing part. So the video generation workflow, it will start here. We'll have and fetch data from Pocketbase. Right, and the next step would be generate script. So this will communicate with I will use the same thing, Olama. So which model to use, I don't want to decide it here. So probably it might be Llama 3 or it might be 5.4 or something like that, or maybe the DeepSeek models. The DeepSeek models are really good when it comes to the reasoning aspect of it. So once you generate the script, then you need to generate the audio for it. So generate audio, And again, this will call the this will call the fast API service internal API, and then I might be using something like Whisper to actually generate the audio. Whisper, right? So once the audio is generated, I'll store the transcription and everything back to this, and then so the generation of video, generating the whole video is a little bit difficult. So what I really want to do is I want to instead of generating the video directly, I want to generate a series of images and then convert that series of images into a video. So generate video, which might be series of images, and it will call comfy UI. And the last step would be generate video. So the generate video aspect, so internal API, right? It would be our fast API, which is using maybe FFmpeg or movie.py to actually generate the video. Okay, so once I generate the video, publish to Telegram. So this is where it ends. So let me create. Okay, so this is our end-to-end workflow that I'm thinking about for the video generation, right? So video generation, it will start from fetching the data from the Pocketbase instance as to what theme it is for, and it will generate the script. For that, it will call an Olama model, which I have hosted locally, and then it would again next step is to generate the audio, which I would use with an internal API. In fast API, I'll be using Whisper for it. So the orchestration cannot actually call Whisper on its own. That's why I create a API and then call that API from the orchestration, right? So video generation workflow for the tool that I'm going to use it is N8N. This is a very powerful workflow. So yeah, if you're using off-the-shelf components, if you're using 11 Labs or OpenAI, they have native integration, so you don't have to worry about creating your own internal API. But since I want to make this local, entirely local, 100% local, that's why I'm using this. So generate images, I'm again using Comfy UI. I'll run a Comfy UI instance on the server, and then use this for actually generating the data, and generate the video. And to generate the video, combining all these images into one single video frame, we'll create a fast API endpoint which uses a movie.py or FFmpeg to actually work on this, and then it'll publish to my Telegram group, and I can either approve or discard a particular message. I have to see how it can be done, or this is the end-to-end thought process. Okay, and the video publishing workflow is going to be very simple. I know I can listen to events from Telegram. Or the start is N8N will listen for any Telegram events, and then fetch data from Pocketbase, publish to YouTube. Right. So pretty simple. So this is what I have in mind. So we will have these two workflows mainly. So the architecture looks good, and here's architecture, and this is the orchestration, and you have the AI servers, fast API, backend API, and then Pocketbase. So let's also talk about the Pocketbase instance, right? So for the Pocketbase, let's use dbdiagram.io rather than try to design the database here. Let me create a new diagram. So I want to have a table called projects, and let's say the defaults that I want is ID, and created at timestamp, updated at timestamp, then is deleted boolean, right? This is the common things that I would want for like all the databases or all the tables. And let's say I have a user table. I don't want to like represent here, but let's say like I have a user table. Then I want to like refer it to the user instance, like which user actually created this project, so that I have a like slash projects API, and I can only list the projects that is created by this particular user, right? Okay, so once I have this project, maybe a project name, varchar. The important thing is I need a theme, right? And this enum could be horror facts. There could be others as well, but yeah, let me just limit it to those two things for now, right? Once this thing is created, I want to like store the final output here itself, right? Or for every project you could have like a multiple instances running. Okay, so let me have a table executions. So this executions, you can link it to a project ID. So let me add the defaults. So these are defaults. I need ID created and updated, deleted is deleted. And what I would need is a project ID. So which project does this belong to? Or like I'll just call it project. So this is referring to the projects table, right? And let's say I have a result, or yeah, let's call it result, right? Result is probably a file for now. Do I really want to store the file in the database? No, and you should not do. Yeah, you should not store the file in a database, especially because it's not efficient at all, and the size of the database will increase, and database migrations and everything is going to be a pain. So what should you do if you want to store a file? You should actually store it in some kind of storage. It might be your a disk, or like it might be an object storage like S3, or I don't know what Google's this thing was, Google Object Storage or something like that. But yeah, store it somewhere else, and then have the pointer to that file in your database, right? In your tables. Do not store the file as a blob in your database, even though your database supports it. So sorry for going on a tangent there, but that is really important. Okay, so I have stored the file. I'm storing the results. I might want to store some intermediate results. The script, right? The video script is something that I would want to store. Script, let's say varchar, and I would want to store the transcriptions, transcription of the audio. So let's say that is JSON. What else do I want to store? And I would want to store the individual images that I get from the image generator. So I'll probably use execution assets as a different table. So table or video timeline files. A very long name, I know, but bear with me here. So I want the defaults, and I would want the actual file. So let's say I'm just going to call it file here. And I would want to know the start. That is a time. That is time. Basically, like, it would be seconds, or like some kind of that would be a seek from the start of the video duration to and when it should end. So it should be like a time as well. So time, or let me call it time delta. If I have time duration. So these are the things that I would want, and then I can use this information to actually stick together the in a video. Ideally, I would want to have some kind of control over how the video sticks together, what kind of transition that we want to use. Do we want to do something else? But that all is P1, I would say. For the P0, I want to limit it to a very small scope. So I have 3 tables. That's pretty good. So Pocket Base is done. What else do I have to think about? I think the fast API, what are the APIs that I would want is something that I want to think about. But those are driven from here. So I want to have an API for actually the transcription aspect of it. And I want to have an API for the actual generation of the video aspect of it. And that is it. I think I just need two APIs and maybe one more API to actually interact with the orchestrator, and then I'm done. Let's set up a base project and then I can pick it up tomorrow. It's already 2 a.m. So let me set up the base project. So let's create a GitHub. Let me create a new project. Let me ask ChatGPT. Bitbot, FrameFlow, AutoCut, Renderly, MotionCraft, SceneForge, Clipsmith. This is using AI, GenAI Studios, Aetherframe, VidSynth, NeuroMotion, Frame AI, AutoReel AI, DeepFrame. I really like the DeepFrame name actually. Maybe because of DeepSeek, but yeah, let's go with DeepFrame. Okay, so it is created. Let's go back to GitHub, git clone, DeepFrame. I used the tmuxinator to actually set up my project in one single command. So let me create one for DeepFrame. I would want to copy some of the elements from here, which is especially these UI things. Let me copy this, paste it here, and let me forget about this, close this out, and yeah. So instead of attack Oracle UI, it moved deep frame. Okay, this is good. Deep frame, and I'm going to change this to just this, and environment activate. And fast API dev main.py. That's going to be my project, and this is inside backend. I'll create two folders, backend and front end. Front end and this is for deep frame. Create a project root. Backend, the frame, and then yeah, there is nothing to activate here. It's going to be just vim and probably a Docker Compose. Yeah, Docker Compose up, and I want to run it on watch mode. So let me create the folders, make their front end, back end. Yeah, I think those are the two folders that I need, and then I'll create Docker Compose. So you never have to build something from scratch if you already make use of something like this. So yeah, I have a Docker Compose file. Let me open this up. Docker Compose. Yeah, for the most parts we are good. So let's see if this works. Okay, the Pocket base does not exist. I did searches before, so Docker, yeah, it does not have an official Docker image, but it's pretty simple, right? Make their Pocket base. I already have this actually, so let me just copy this from video AI captain, pocket base, Docker file, and then let me copy it here. I'll show you what is in that Docker file. It's just the same thing. So if you look at the same thing that was there in the actual website, it's the same thing here, right? Just that only thing that is changed or that is still wrong is I'm just exposing 8090 and then like using the 8090 here, right, instead of 8080. Okay, so that's good. This is one thing that I had to add because N8N need to communicate with the external or my local host systems, because I would be running a Comfy UI not from a container but from my local system. So for that to work, actually there should be a way for containers to be able to communicate to my local host that is running. So I need to map the host.docker.internal to my host gateway, which is my system. So that works. Let me remove this. I don't think we need that. Let me remove this too. Right, let's Docker compose. Okay, I think the editor is accessible now. Let's check if this works. Not using for work, and let's say Google and get started. I'll skip this. Right, so yeah, this is done. Let's spin up our pocket base. Perfect. Okay, okay, so with that the infrastructure is set up, and you might think that I need Olama and the other things. So the other things I'm running it outside of the container. So yeah, and I have that set up in my local system. So I'm pretty good there. And we can get to coding. We like to use TypeScript, ESLint, yes, Tailwind, yes. Okay, I don't need the source directory, so no. Would you like to use the app router? Yeah, why not? Turbo pack, yes. Move brain to so now I have a front end folder. Right. I already have this folder, so let's go to backend. There's nothing here. Let me create a Python virtual environment. Okay, virtual environment is created, and I'll create a .env file because that's where I'm going to store all the secrets. Maybe let me touch main.py. And yeah, this should be enough, I think. So let's start the Vaccinator. There was a failure here, but that's okay. Fast API command not found. Then root. Okay, the container seems to be running. Right? Perfect. So let me, so since this is running, I'm not going to touch it. I just have to fix the backend right now. Let me add some very basic stuff here, or let me get this to a running state and then make a base commit, and then we'll start on the business logic and stuff, right? So I already had a project where I'll copy paste some of the stuff, and it will be based on the Fast API boilerplate. I think this is the boilerplate that I was using. But yeah, so I've customized it before, so like I'll end up using the same thing that I already have. This is a good boilerplate to start with, and I need to install Fast API, and that will solve most of the issues here. I'll need Scarlet, and I would need. I'll come back to the API stuff. All right. And I want to focus on the core aspect of it. So there are some there's a config.py that I want to build. core/config.py. So this config.py would actually load all the data from the env file that I have, and yeah, make it presentable inside our application. So for that, we'll also be using Pydantic settings. Pydantic settings. So this is a package that we are going to use. Let me install that, and let me paste in the a boilerplate that I had. So paste. So what this actually does is, let me remove the things that we don't need. Yeah. Okay, so it's actually loading the data from the environment file, and yeah, basically setting some defaults, what is the front end host name, what are the environments, and I'm setting this local for now, and what's the project name and all those things, right? Yeah, so this is fine. Let me load an environment variable. And I need the password. So I'm just setting the password to change me. I think that should work. So let's try to run fast API dev.py. Okay, good. So no module name backend. Yep. Not sure why that's happening. Let's maybe add an init file here so that it recognize this as a module. And yeah, no module name API. So yeah, I have not defined the API just yet. So let me create an API folder and then create an init.py there. And what am I importing from that? Router, right? Let me actually copy paste this from the boilerplate. And what I have here is that I'm just creating an API router, and I'll include all the router that I want. So this is just a very basic one where I have an API router, and then I import the API router, create an API route, and I just import the settings and then check if the environment is local. I can add some more things here, but I'm just giving it as a pass here. So potentially if I create new APIs, I can just add it into this file and then we should be all good. Right. So let's check if this works. You cannot import settings from backend.core.config because core is not a module yet. So yeah, now this should work. Try to open this up. See if that works. Yeah. Yes, so no APIs are defined just yet. That makes perfect sense. So it does work. So the base backend is ready. So what we can do is let's do a commit. That's something that I don't want to publish. Okay. I think everything is here. One thing that I missed is I want to create requirements.txt file. So let's do that. Backend, and then source. I want to open in Vim, but let's do a pip freeze and then push that to requirements.txt. Now all the requirements that are used in this virtual environment is available as a file here. Okay, cool. Let me go back, add the backend, and then let's put a comment. Add backend base. Right. So now to the front end, looks good. I don't want to remove any of these, so let me add everything and then base. This is also good. Pocket base Docker file. And then add I think that is good. Let's just push it. And then yeah, we can get started. So the base project is ready. So our now first focus is we have to get the pocket base ready, right? So for the pocket base, the structure that we talked about yesterday was db diagram.io. Yes, projects, executions, and video timeline files. So let's create the projects file, and then we'll talk about the executions in entry. So we are now logged into Pocket Base. Let's create a new collection that is projects. Let's keep this on the side, and ID and other things are present. Let's create plain text for name. Create one more for theme, and then it is going to be enum theme, and then let's put horror facts both there, and then we can add more if needed. That's a flexibility with a Pocket Base. You can always add more, and let's add a relation to user to understand which user actually created this relation. User, and this is going to be user. Perfect. Created this, so we are good with the projects. Let's also create the executions. Perfect. So now we have the schema ready for all of these. So we are good with the environment setup. So now we can start coding. So now I have a very basic scaffolding of a backend ready. So it is a fast API boilerplate that I took from the internet. So what I have here is that, so it just has like the basic configuration. It reads the settings from the .env file with pydantic settings. So yeah, pydantic settings, and then it reads from the .env file. It sets up the environment, the username, password, the URL and all those things that is required, and the project name also, right? So the PB username and PB password corresponds to the Pocket Base username and password, which we will create right now. So the value that I have here now is, let me open up env file. So I just created backend app.com and then change me at 123 as the password. So let's create that localhost 090 and collections. So let's create a super user backend at app.com, and then the password would be change me. Let's maybe save it. Okay, so this is what I created. So the very basic scaffolding of an app with the environment variables. Let me change this thing to deep frame. Yeah, with the environment variables and the credentials for like a Pocket Base. So going back to our architecture diagram, let's look into the first one. This is the workflow, the video generation workflow. So let's also create the workflow, right? So let's start with the workflow. Innate is running on local host. Okay, let's start from scratch. So the first step, let's add a trigger manually for testing, and let's have a HTTP request item. So the first request that I would use is to actually authenticate with the Pocket Base server. So let's look into the authentication docs. Interesting. So I'm not seeing admin auth password. I used to do this on Python on a separate project. Let me just reference that. Here, util. Oh, it's not a util then. It's probably service. Pocket Base. Yeah, Pocket Base.py. And yeah, it's a API admin's auth with password. So I need to do this. HTTP:// colon A090 slash API admin with password. And this was a post request, and the identity and the password is provided like this. So let's test it out. Location no, post request and body post JSON, yep. And using the field below, let's copy the identity, and then I need the password, right? So the identity was, if I'm not wrong, yes. Let's change me at 1, 2, 3. Let's test it out. Oh, it's 404. Okay, at least it is setting the API, so that's good. So one way to figure out when you're not able to find out is reverse engineer what's actually going on. So let me go inspect. Let's try to log in. Network, disable cache, preserve logs. Is there a preserve logs here? Okay, I hope it preserves the logs. Yeah, there is an auth with password. Okay, it's under super users, auth with password. Okay, fair enough. I think they changed that around. Yeah, let's go back and change this to, let's go to their docs, look into records, list auth method, not this one, auth with password, then API collections, collection name. Let's change this to like that. So slash API, so I have to replace this collection ID or collection name. So this is going to be the super user that we just saw, right? So let's open up this underscore super user, and yep, this step. Perfect. So we have the token back. So this is good. So every time we start, we do an authentication with the super user and then take it from there. I want to look into how to add. Okay, so let me save this. This is the first. Oh, okay, variables are only available on the enterprise plan. That is bad. Okay. Interesting. Okay, for now maybe I'll hard code stuff, and then probably we can change it to environment variables later. Okay, now I have the token, or I'll call it auth. Next step that I would need is another request to fetch the current project data. So if you look at it, fetch data from Pocketbase, this is the project data, right? So let's do one more HTTP request, then get the API would be HTTP / Pocketbase A090, then API / view record is collection / collection name record / ID. Okay, / collection name. This is going to be projects record / record ID. Right, so this has to be an expression. Okay, this expression I'll get it from the request, but for now I have to fake some data, right? So let me fake that data using a code block. Okay, let me clarify that. So this record ID here, actually I'll be getting that when user is invoking this particular workflow. I'm not looking at that part yet. So for now I want to just mock that data. So I can easily mock that data by setting it as a variable. And since variable is not like kind of allowed here, so what I can do is create a code block and then set hard code that value in, right? So I will just remove this, and then I just want to return. Project ID, and then that would be a project that we have. And unfortunately we don't have any projects, so let's go back, create a new project. So let's say test project, and theme is horror, and I'll pick there is no user, so it's fine. Right, this is the project ID. Test step. So the first I'll link it here, and then the output is going to go here. I'll just delete this step in between. Delete this step. Right, first the code is invoked, and then the auth is invoked, and then the HTTP request. So let's just test this out. Okay, so this ran. So now I should have, let me rename this. So that's pretty clear as to what's happening. So from the mock, I just want to get the mock data. Yes, the project ID is what I want. Project ID will stand here. Authentication would be, I'll just send an header. Just send an authentication header. Let's see what is being currently sent. Headers, and there's an authorization header. The value is coming from auth, then the token. Right, as simple as that. So we get the data back, so we are good. So we get the, let me rename this to, right, so project data is fetched, and the next thing I want to do here is the generate the script. So I want to call Olama to generate the script. So to generate the script, to call Olama, I can use AI model, AI agent. Yeah, agent is a tools agent, conversation agent, plan agent, SQL agent. I'll just go with the tools agent. I think that would work. I'll just add Olama. Yep. Yes, this works, and I use 5.4 for now. I think that should work. And agent define below, generate a in less than 250 words. We can tweak it later depending upon how the output is coming. And right, let's hope that we are able to get a horror themed script. Perfect. Okay, I'm getting scene 1, scene 2, and all those things. Yeah, I think this would work. So the script is generated. What is the next step? The next step is generating the audio. So once the script is generated, let's store it back in Poker Base, and then we have to call an internal API to get this, generate the audio with using Whisper or stuff like that, right? So the next step is actually HTTP request, and this would be a post to /record ID would come from mock data. Right, I'll just remove the space here, and it would be a patch because I just want to update the script, right? And authentication, yeah, I'll just send the headers as authentication. Let me copy the it's authorization. Let me copy that again, authorization, and it will come from the mock. And I have to send a body, and it will be JSON. Okay, I think I can just send in the body. So it's the video script. So what I have to send here is script. The value is coming from the AI agent, the output, right? So looks like we have that here. Let's reload and test. Oh no. Okay, for every time I have to actually create an execution, and then I have to store the video script inside that execution. Interesting. So let's generate an execution. So it is no longer a patch, it's a post, because we have to create the execution itself, and it would be executions, and I don't need the records ID because yeah, it's creating a new one anyway. And let's just confirm that create, yeah, it's a sense with record. Perfect. And now authorization is there, video script is there. I think it will create an empty one. No, it did not create an empty one. Interesting. Okay. Oh, because I was using the other collection ID. Video script I have added, and the next one that we have to add is project. Yeah, I think only a project I need to add now. So let's go back, project, and then the project ID should be represented here, and the project ID is here, right? So let's test this out. Could not be found. Did I make something wrong? Collections. Let me copy paste this just to ensure I don't have any mistake. Then this is executions. It's supposed to, yep, might be a typo somewhere. So yeah, the execution should be created with the video script. One thing that I'm seeing is that this script has a lot of like scenes and other things. We might have to cut these things out, right? Instead of cutting those out, let's instruct the model to say I think it's good enough. Let's maybe parse the JSON in the middle. Let's add a code block. This is a common problem with all the LLM models. The output can be formatted however it can, because it is generating character by character. So there is no way to actually enforce a particular format from the LLM. So that is where some tools like agentic frameworks like tools and frameworks like Pydantic AI really help, because they do this parsing under the hood so that you don't have to worry about it. Okay, now what's going on? It's not a properly formatted string. So let me run this again. So if we return an array, it considers 4 different inputs rather than one single input. So that's why I'm returning a dictionary which considered as like one single item as output. So yeah, I think this works. Let's try to build it from scratch now once. Okay. So I have to do some kind of error handling. If it does fail, go back, regenerate the script again, right? So the new execution should be created with the right data, I hoped, but no, looks like there's a problem there. So let's go back, look into the script, and yeah, this is a problem, right? So instead of code, just rename parse script. Then from the parse script, we can I think this is what the problem was. This was working fine. This was supposed to be mock data, the project ID. Checking the latest execution. Okay, perfect. So that worked. Let me delete the other ones. Now the only thing that I need is, so the second item is actually generating the audio. So let's create an API to actually generate audio. So I might want to store the audio as a separate item here. So maybe I'll call it like an audio result and like a video results. Maybe I can think about that. But yeah, let me first start with the API, try to call that API and then take it from there. So I'll just create a routes folder, and inside, okay, let me have a audio.py. So for this part of the video, I lost the audio for it. So I'll be doing a voiceover for the part of the video where I lost the audio. I'm creating the audio.py file in my API routes, creating a post route to actually generate the audio. It will take the project ID as input. Since I'm working with Pokerbase, I also need to work with the Pokerbase client. So one way to do that in Fast API is to create dependencies. So let's go ahead and create a dependency. Okay, here we are defining a method get pb client, which is returning an internal pb client get method, and we are also returning the final line of this file is we are creating a dependency for the pb client, right? And if you look at the internal method, what it does is it just creates the pocket base client, and it authenticates with the pocket base server with the pocket username and password. We have it in the environment file, and it is cached so that this authentication happens only once every 300 seconds, which is 5 minutes. So to include the dependency, you just go to the function, the API function, and then include pb client colon the dependency, and instead of project ID, we would want to use the execution ID here because we want to generate audio for each execution. Let's use the Pocket Base client to get the execution data from the Pocket Base. Seems like the auto import is not working fine for me, so we have to manually fix it. And installing the required dependencies, Pocket Base, cache tools, all those things. So let's quickly do the testing. So to do the testing, Fast API provides a docs/docs link where you can provide the payload and test the APIs. Let's pull the video script from the execution. And the next step is to create the audio for the video script. So to create the audio, let's create a service TTS file, and let's create a speak method which can take in text and return an audio output. And for that, we'll be using the HTTS because it's the simplest one to implement. Going to the examples, it's pretty simple to implement, just a few lines to actually convert text to audio. Let's test it to see if it works with the sample string hello.
Hello.
Okay, that works now. So the next step is to identify how long each of the script took and then record the duration of the script that is being spoken, right? So we can sync this duration with the image that is generated and the scenes that we have in the video script, and generate the overall video, which the audio aligns with the images that are generated for each scene. So what we are doing here is that we are going through the script, and then for each section in the script which has the scene and the text, we'll speak the text, and then we'll create a scene timings array. Scene timings would have the scene entry and then the duration for that each scene that we would want. This duration would be coming from the duration of the audio. So testing it, it works. So we have the start and end timing, which with which we can get the duration. Now we have separate audio files for each of the scene. Now we need to combine all of them into one single audio file so that we can, at the end of the day, we can attach it to the video directly. Since we are using LibRosa to get the duration, let's explore ways to combine the audio itself using LibRosa. So what we are doing is that we have an audio data array. We are pushing all the audio to that audio data, and at the end we are using numpy.concat to actually create a merged audio. And once we have the merged audio, we'll use um, sound file to actually write that merged audio back to a file. Testing the merged audio now.
As the last remnants of sunlight faded from view, Dr. Emma Taylor stood before the crumbling walls of Ravenswood Asylum. She steeled herself and stepped inside, into the depths of madness. Every step revealed a new
Now let's save back the audio file to the executions table. To store that, we'll use the execution ID and upload the files along with the scene timings. We also have to provide ID equals and param equals to save the data. Since the scene timings is a string varchar, we have to convert it into a JSON string file. So let's do that. Now we are seeing some issues with the file upload. Yeah, we forgot the first parameter of it. The first parameter should be the field name that we have in the database. The audio downloads as a txt file. That is weird. And it is just having the string of the file name, which makes sense because we should be providing the file contents rather than the file name. So we should use open on the file path and then read it as a binary. I missed the binary, yeah, and that should work.
As the last remnants of sunlight.
So now we have the audio stored in the execution table. So we have the audio ready. And the next step in the process is generating the images. And once I have the images for each scene, I can tie them together into a video, right? So that's the plan. So for generating the images, we'll be using something like Comfy UI. If it was online, if I wanted like use something online, I could have used online services like Civit AI, um, TensorArt, and all lots of like image generation services out there. But yeah, since we are going fully local, I'll be using my local system. So to run Comfy UI in the local, we'll have to go with the Comfy UI installation part. I have that already installed, so I'll be quickly running them on my project here. So since I'm not running as part of the start of the project, let me add that in. I'll edit this. Let me go to the very last. And probably I will add this as a new pane. In that case, I think the layout, I'd have to change the layout. Let me remove the layout actually. So let's figure out where, let me figure out the path. Yeah, I have that already. I have the command already. So let me copy that command, paste it in here. So this is moving into the CompUI folder. It is activating the virtual environment and then it's running the main.py on the host 0.0.0.0. Okay, so let me write this out. Then kill all session. Let's start it again. Okay, this is running. It's running, and I have the CompUI server started. Okay, the server is started 8188. Let's go localhost 8188. And yes, I do have a basic workflow loaded. So let's load the default workflow. Yeah, the image generation workflow. Because I want to generate an image. We can always improve this workflow to get better images, but we'll start off from the default image workflow. Let me select a Dream Shaper for the model because I don't have the default model. Yeah, so I'm getting the images, right? So this is good. So from here, what I can do is save or export the workflow as API. So image gen workflow. And let me open up that JSON. So this is going to be a workflow that we'll call. Right? So I have to call comfy UI and generate the images. Before I call the comfy UI and generate the images, I want to test if this image generation even works. Right, so let me create an image generation workflow here. So let me create HTTP request node, and it's going to be a post for generating images. And yeah, I have to send the body, and this sending the body. Let's say it's not sure what I should select here. Raw. Yeah, that's okay. Applications that is on. Let's figure out comfy UI API. We should be sending a request to /prompt with the data as I think it could be a post request, but let's verify. So instead of this one, internal test reget. I believe we have to work with the pose, and then instead of this JSON, yes, and using JSON, let's paste in our JSON that we had. Copying the whole JSON, pasting it here. It's a post to the prompt. Let's test it. Okay, got it. So it's telling us no prompt as an error here because you have to encode this in a prompt dictionary. So, or it has to be like in the base level has to be a prompt. So adding this as prompt here and going to the very end, closing out the prompt. I think this should work. Okay, so now I have the prompt ID back. So let's call image gen request. So once the image gen request is submitted, I have to check if the image is actually generated. So for that, I can check, I can hit a API again to see what's the status of the actual image generation request. So that API is a history API. So let's HTTP request, and it's a get API, and it's a history, and then I have to add in the prompt ID here. Right, I have to remove the space, and let's test it out. Yep, so I get the response back, which means that the data has been present, right? So I'll rename this to check image gen status, right? So once you get the image generation status, also you would have to do an if condition where if the image generation is not complete, you have to like go back and check the status again and again. That will do later, but let's look into the downloading of the file. So for the downloading of the file, again an HTTP request. I think it's get. Yes, it's a get. Let me copy the URL that I had before so that it's easier. The file name is, should come from here. Yes, and then let's do a test step. Yeah. and I can see the image. Right. So download the file is also ready. Image down. So let's delete everything. Let's try to run this. Now it will throw an error because it was not able to process the request. If you see the input, the output, what is the output here? Yeah, output images. We did get the output. That's interesting. Then why did it have out? Oh, because it's using the prompt ID, hard-coded prompt ID. Okay, fair enough. That is something that we should change. Instead of using the prompt ID here, we should get that prompt ID from this prompt step. Perfect. So that works. And here, let's save this. Let's clear everything. Let's try to run this again. Okay, since it is taking very less time to generate, I think that's why we are getting the images faster. So let maybe increase the steps to 50, and then this will take some time to actually generate the image. So let's remove everything on it. Oh, 0 seconds. How is that impossible? Let me increase those steps again. Speeds, green paper, input, chip encoder, samples. Where do we actually increase the steps? In the case sampler step. So where is the case sampler step? Yeah, here's the case sampler step. So 50, let me give 100. Step. Perfect. Let me change the input as well. Forest and beach combining in a um, tiny planet. And 30, 800 seconds. Okay, I think it was caching. Use green and blue. It's doing this so that we don't get it cached. Yeah, now it fails, right? Because the output is empty. The output of this one is empty, right? Because we did not get anything back. So I need to add an if condition. Condition. So the if condition should come here, and the condition is true. Let's call this one. Let's delete this. The condition is false. Then we'll wait for 5 seconds and then try again. If that makes sense. Call the image generation again. It might not be just JSON. Yeah, that's fine. The condition of it does not exist, right? I'm not sure why it is saying this is an item, but it is empty. So let's get this actually. So let's see if it is available. Step. Okay, if it does exist, then we are good. Okay. Okay. Everything. For the case where something changes, let's again change the sampler. Use green. It's waiting. The JSON.prompt ID does not work because it's not as because the previous step is something else, right? So let's pick 1, 2. So I have to get it from that particular step rather than getting it. Yeah, so this is how I should get it. Perfect. I think that works. Right. So let me change this again. Red and blue as primary color. Testing. Oh, I cached it again. No. Right. Okay, clear everything. Test it. It is waiting. Now it should go back to the image gen status and then it's done. So let's check the output or let's view it. Okay. It is something, right? Okay. So what we created here is first there is an image generation request, which we are calling the our Comfy UI API, the /prompt API to actually submit our prompt. It would give us a prompt ID back. With this ID, we can track the status of the prompt execution. So what we are doing is checking in the image status. So once you do a get, for the first time, we'll get nothing because like it is just still generating. So we want to like have that check, right? If we want to check if it is empty or like if it is actually finished processing, we are checking the output name, file name, if the output file name exists. So like go to the next step. If it doesn't exist, wait for 5 seconds, retry the status aspect. So it will be a loop till it succeeds. And once it succeeds, it will go to the download flow where it will actually download that image. Right? Perfect. So now let's tie this back to here. Before we tie back there, I want to actually uh, supply a few things, right? So here, instead of supplying this text, hard-coded text, I want to get the scenes and the scene timings. Basically, what we had a scene timings here, right? So let's look into yeah, the scene timings. So we created an execution here. So now we also like created an API. Let me delete this. And we also created an API. I'm talking about the backend API that we developed here, right? The execution ID /generate, which actually creates a scene timings. So we need that API to be present or like called in the workflow. So let's do that first and then try to link it back. So if you look, so this is the same thing as generating the audio step here. Even though we created this API, we did not link it back to the workflow. So let's create HTTP request and should have a that's the one. Right. So it is with here UI not going to use the company value. So it's our local host is going to be host dot docker dot internal 8000 and then comes the actual API endpoint. Copy this, paste it here. The execution ID, I have to get it from the previous step, which we can get. And there is no authentication for now. And then there is it's a get request. Perfect. Let's run this workflow. We type it to here, delete this, delete everything, run. I know it will fail here, but I want to have the data filled so that I can just drag and drop. Perfect. So the execution ID, I have it here. Copy this, paste this, the step. Server refuse connection, perhaps it's supply. Okay, yeah, it's running on localhost. I like 127.0.0.1. I need it to be running on the host 0.0.0. That would make it work. Yeah, okay. That is able to go there to our particular API or hit our server. Just that something is failing now. Like looks like there might be some typos. Let's see. Step. Method not allowed. Did I use a post method? Yeah, it's a post method because it's generate, right? So let's create post. Server was unable to process your request. Why? JSON loads video script. What is up with the video script? Is it not a proper video script here? Reload. Video script is ending. Oh, is it ending? It's didn't this part succeed? Let's trinify and then see if that worked. Yes, I think I did this earlier, but just that I forgot to save the workflow. Let's save it now. Delete everything. That's the workflow again. Okay, it failed here. So was unable to process your request. Let's go get script. What is it returning? What is the returning script? And what did I store? Okay, okay. I stored without the script actually. So that is fine. So I can change that back now. Just this one. And save, delete, run it again. Yeah, looks like an invalid JSON. And let's delete, run it again. Okay, this is taking time, so probably it is processing in the background. Let's open up our server. and now logs, because we did not add any logs there. Okay, that worked. So I got the scene timings as well. So with these scene timings, I can generate the images, right? So let's look into generating those images. Move all these to here. Well, let's move this here so that it's easier for us to review. Check. Yes, okay. Let us be here. So for every request that we get, so this is going to be the image generation scene. So I'll use this scene here. Let's see if that scene worked. Did it add at the top? It added at the bottom. Let's cut that. This is one thing that you have to maybe do manually, especially when you have it yeah, this might be one thing that you have to do manually. So where is the scene? Yeah, scene text. Paste this here. Perfect. I think that should work. Delete everything and that workflow. It's generating the scene. In timings. Oh, it is basically generating the audio and then creating the scene timings. Okay. Now there are scenes with and one of the scene got processed. Two scenes got processed. Three. Let's look at the first output. House. Good. Back. Yeah. It's starting really like this. Back. Green. Good. Yes. So the next step is to actually save this back into our DB and then create a video out of it. So generate images is done. So next is the generation of video. So for generating the video, we have to save these images into our DB, and then our backend can actually pull these images and generate the video. Right. So let's make this a post, and the name for this is execution video timelines instead of just video timeline files. Ending the body. And it is going to be a form data. Yeah. What are the data? File start and end. So let's put the file first. So form data. And then inside that, this is the binary file. File import. Let's put data here. I think that should work. And this will be an expression. Why am I trying to build this from scratch actually? Let me just copy paste this. create. Okay. It could potentially happen that there would be two items here. So let's go okay, it's creating this. So let me add a file. It's not JSON. Change it back again. Let's reload this. Yeah, this image. Let me delete this and let me quickly explain. So I created this node, upload video timeline file. It's an HTTP request node, and it would send the. It is just creating a post, just like how we have done before. The only small difference is that since there are multiple items coming in, I'm just selecting the dot first item. It would work as expected if only one item reaches at a time. But if there are two items reaching at the same time, at that time, only one item would get processed. So the video files are now uploaded. So where we load, you can see for this particular, oh, the execution ID I cannot map it. So let's go back, map the execution ID, and then come back here. It's a form data execution. I need the execution ID. Where can we get the execution ID? Create the execution, and then that ID. Put it here. That should be fine here. I don't know. So let's delete everything, generate a new one so that I have a clean execution to work on top of. Perfect. So that image worked. So that flow worked. So let me kind of optimize space a little bit. It can be optimized. Yeah, this should be all right. Now the next step is to, let's check if those images are present. Images are present, execution IDs are mapped. So now let's go back and we have to generate the video. So we have images. Now just that we have to tie these images together and run that generated video and audio. So let's create a new video.py, and I'll take most of the things from the audio itself. References from audio. Go back, make paste, do then. So now we'll get the execution data. And once I have the execution data, I have to pull the files with the executions also. And now I have to get back. I would get a list of all the files. So pd client. select name, copy the select name, paste it here, not get list, and get list. I have to pass in page, page and size. I'll just hardcode 100 for now. And then I have to pass in a filter to just pull the current execution ID data. Okay. So I'll do a filter. Execution. I'll comment. I'll delete the other things and then comment out the update part because anyway I will need the update aspect of it. Now just store the responses, online files, data, words. And then I'll return the timeline records. And then we'll test out if this actually works. Okay. And I have to include the new router. API router dot include router period. No module named API, where I'm using test API. That can the auto inputs are popped up. So internal server, that's good. I said because of the filter having internal double quotes here. It's because I missed the double quotes. So probably think so. Let me send it again. Yeah, it was because I missed the double quotes. Now from this timeline records, I need to like pull all the files in. Right. So I want to ensure when I pull these records, I have the right start and end. And just looking at this, I see that there was a mistake in the workflow, which is not giving me the right start and end. Let's go back to the workflow, fix it there, and then come back. It's always taking the first item. I think that's the problem. Maybe I did not test it well enough. Yeah, the item works. If this works, I don't have to worry about this part here. Okay, now if I look into it, start correct, but the end is still in zeros. So let's go back, see what's wrong with the end. So start is item like this on end is what? Why did it do that? So let's delete it again, run it multiple times. We should exactly have 3 items. Yes, so starting from perfect, that works. Next image and image and last image. So let's copy the p from 0 and we go to our with this data. Yes, it's working as expected. And yeah, I want to make sure like it's when you get it, it's ordered. So start with 0. Yeah, it is already ordered, so I don't have to worry about it. So let's go back. Let's download all the files. So now I want to download the files. So I want to create a folder path for this particular execution. So start execution ID. Okay. I don't think I imported OS yet. So let's import OS. Once the path that exists, folder path. If it exists, you don't have to do anything. If it does not exist, now we have to iterate through each item for we have to pull the files. The file name is folder path slash dot file. We have its own file name. So the file name is folder path and then record dot file. And then I have to download this file. So for downloading this file, I just have to do this. Let me copy paste this code that I had. So to get URL from record and record input URL. So now the files are downloaded. Now we have to actually, now that the files are downloaded, we have to think about creating that, combining all those files together and then creating a video out of it. So let's first, let's first check if the files are downloaded properly. So I just print the folder path. Let's do an execution to, okay, I might need to do dot. Okay. So this is a folder. Yeah, files are downloaded, so we are good. Let's be the backend folder. Okay. The files are downloaded. The next step is creating that video. So before we create the video, create image sequence array. And line data an array. So for every dot, and what I will do is just store the file name that. Then end. We will use this to actually create a video. Let's generate video. We'll create a service for it. And so yeah, and yeah, we can import this. So once we have the image sequence here, we can generate the video. So for generating a video, I had this util script that I tried out before, and thus it did work as expected. So let me paste that in. So what this actually does is it uses movie.py. If movie.py is installed, then it's an idea as well. And then that execution would be to store the data here. Right. So what I'm doing is from the image sequence, I'm iterating through each of the item and then creating an image clip with the duration and then appending that clip and then creating a video out of the concatenate video method. So it's pretty simple. So let's see how it goes. So here I would also need a duration actually. So the duration would be record and minus quote. Image sequence is timeline data and then execution ID is passed. While let's see if that works. Run a server error. its file path. It's actually creating the video. Let's open up this video. Okay, so the video is getting generated, so that's good. Now, one thing that I see is that the audio isn't there, so we'll have to add the audio also to this one. I will need to download the audio file first and then pass in the data. So first, since I have the execution here, let's say you that do it here. Then to put this creation. Audio file part would be would be folder path slash dot view. Okay. Now I have to download this file. So download this file if easy. So file URL, let's pb line dot files dot get URL and execution is a record, and then what does it audio file. Yeah, audio file. And let's see if this works. I might have to use the capital F here, but let's see. Right. Now wallet dot let's put wallet file URL. Now you
Jessica's flashlight casts eerie shadows.
okay, that worked. So the next thing that we have to do is pass in this audio. Okay, I want to change the sequence of it. Let me send the execution ID first, timeline data, and then audio file path. Let's do the same thing here. Let's hope this works. I just typed it out. Let me see available. Missing one odds of this. Data and save this file. Oh, video clip, but audio clip in audio. This is good. Let's check this out. Yeah, looks like so let me remove the consist.
Jessica's flashlight casts eerie shadows on the walls as she explores the notorious Ravenswood Asylum. Legend has it, Ward 13 was where the most disturbed patients were kept, and sometimes they didn't survive. Jessica's eyes widen in horror as she reads the words, Patient 13, admitted for unknown reasons, never discharged.
Okay, so that kind of worked. So what would I have to? So the thing is, images does not really match the scenes. So maybe we can do some optimization there. And I would like to have the actual captions added to this. So let me add, and let's keep this optional. Add captions. Captions. Generate captions should take in an audio. Audio up. Then it would return a list series of text clips, and then that text clips can be combined and used together, right? I did work on this before, so it's going to be relatively easy for me. So let me put in the code. The first step is to actually generate the transcriptions. I need a file to actually generate the transcriptions. And once you generate the transcription, I need to get the test clips from that transcriptions. These are the util functions that I developed before. So yeah, let me copy paste inputs as well. And text clip needs to be imported. Switch to caption config. Let me create the caption config model, and then we'll come back. Then it's done. So it's just a model for caption. So we'll just set some default variable in terms of caption config and size. So the font size, stroke width, color, and all these things. So let us, what we can do here is let's import this. Import dot underscore. Mm, So what we have here is that we generate the cap, we call the generate captions with the audio part. And what happens now is we get the transcripted text first. So for that, getting the transcription text, we are using Whisper to actually get the transcription text. And here, instead of using the base Whisper, we are using something like Whisper timestamp, which actually gives us like the timeline of the words that is getting generated. That helps us with generating each of the words, or like showing each of the words separately. Right? So yeah, and once we have that segments, transcription set text, we pass that on to get text clips, which iterates through each of the word and like adds each word one by one. Okay, so now get text clips, and with this text clips, now we just have to composite this with the video clip that we have. So video equal to get video clip. It's an array. So let's do that. It should ideally work. Okay, that's need to have worked. Let's connect up.
Jessica's flashlight casts eerie shadows on the walls as she explores the.
It looks like the we did not pass in. Or let's make that as a default too, that we can have to not use it if needed. Let's get the expression ID then. I think it's downloading the Whisper model. We'll let that download, and then this is the one-time thing. So it will only happen once.
Jessica's flashlight casts eerie shadows on the walls as she explores the notorious Ravenswood asylum.
So it does work, just that the caption isn't right. So let's change the caption configuration, and stroke color should be black. That itself should give us a lot of uh, changes, I would say. Let's change the 22. And yeah, I think that should be okay. Let's regenerate it. And it takes a second to actually generate the caption. And now the frames are getting much. Get out again.
Jessica's flashlight casts eerie shadows on the walls as she explores the notorious Ravenswood asylum. Legend has it, Ward 13 was where the most disturbed patients were kept, and sometimes they didn't survive. Jessica's eyes widen in Jessica's flashlight.
Perfect. So now the only thing is that there needs to be some optimization in terms of the video that is getting generated. So
Jessica's flashlight.
if you look at the video is not optimized for short form content. So we'll hit the resolution, and the mapping of scenes to the audio could be something that could be improved upon. So we need to do some prompt engineering to get that actually working. So we'll work on that. So that are P1s, I would say. Before we get to that optimization part, I want to have the end-to-end workflow ready. So the next step in the workflow would be to actually the generation of video is done. So we'll have to save it back into our Pocket Base instance and then publish it to Telegram. So that would be our next step. So let me save it back to the Pocket Base instance, and then we'll talk about the next steps later. So going back, let's get this video. We get the video file, and then we are printing the video file here. And let's save this to our that should be it. Now I'm deleting these things, and so we don't need those. And let's see if there's a video file or there's a result. I'll just rename that to video file. I don't want it to be result. Confirm. Then execute it. So once it is done, I expect the data or like in the video to be present back on the Pocket Base instance. Maybe I'll use GPU for this, but it's pretty fast right now, so I don't mind. So let's go to Pocket Base, reload.
Jessica's flashlight casts eerie shadows on the walls as she explores the notorious Ravenswood asylum.
Perfect. So now the step that I need to do here, the upload video timelines is done. Now I just have to call the API, right? So I'll have to wait till everything is completed. Create a code to actually run once everything is done. Run once. All item, then return. This is just a dummy node to actually wait for all the previous steps to complete. Right. And once all the previous steps is complete, we need to send out one more HTTP request, just like generate audio, generate video request. That's it. So let's delete everything. Save, That's the workflow. There was an error. Yeah, you have to get this execution ID from generated executions. Yeah. Don't mind using the first. There's just one item here. Yeah, so this is something that I need to research on a bit. Um, wait for, yeah, and then you can call the generate video. And I've been thinking, right? So onto this, instead of publishing to Telegram, why not publish it directly to YouTube and then maybe publish it in draft stage and send notification over to Telegram so that you can go to the YouTube and then publish it, review it, and then publish it, right? So that I don't need a separate workflow altogether. So from here, I just need, once the video is generated, I just need a YouTube workflow. I've not tried this, by the way, so this is the first time I'm trying this. And then upload a video, and let's see if that works. Create a new credential. Looks like it's going to be a little bit of a longer process to actually get this configured in. I'm going to Google credentials, and let me go to YouTube. Okay, so let's go to YouTube Studio. Perfect. And content. Okay, I have a lot of content here, so if at all any video is uploaded, I can see it here. Right. So now open the docs. YouTube OAuth. I think OAuth works for Google. I already have a Google Cloud account. I'll create a new project altogether. So let's create a new project. Let's select that project. API like APIs and services. There are no YouTube APIs. That's a bummer. Coming into Cloud Console and select Data API, Reporting API. I think I need the Data API. The Cloud Console is pretty slow. It multiple times enable this. So let's see what happens. Okay, let me create the credentials. Hmm. Should it be a web app versus yeah, let's go with the web app. Let me paste in my client secret. The verification problem has not been completed. What is the verification process? Or let me just add test users. I need there is a way to add test users so that you don't have to worry about, you can verify if your app works even before like going through the whole process of validating all of this. Publish this app. Test users. Okay. So the user has been added. Continue. Perfect. Let me create a new workflow. This workflow, I'll copy all this, paste, delete this. Execute workflow, calling the workflow, and it will be generated. Maybe I can wait here for 20 seconds for everything to complete. Yeah, everything completes it. So I can wait here for 20 seconds. You're waiting there. Let's wait for 10 seconds. 20 seconds. So once that is waited, what is the output that I get from this one? I get collection name. We're getting an execution ID. I get the execution ID, and that's all I need, right? So if I have the execution ID, then generate the video with ready. Need input ones. I probably have to wait before I do this. Now have to generate video. Now yeah, from here I can copy these lines. Now what do I have here? Yeah, this is something that I don't need. We'll probably do PBR. Let's pocket it once again, and then the fetching project data. I will fetch the execution data. So where do I get the executions? It's in here. Then executions, video. So let go. Execution data is there. Now execution data now. So from that you can download the actual file. So Looks like it might be pretty simple. So let's test it out. Just once again, I never executed this, so let's execute it once so that I can have all the data. So it runs for around 20-25 seconds. Wait for. Let's leave this. It's no longer news. Save it. We will fetch the application data. Application data containing so that it's easier for us. Collection ID is going to be agents. And then the code ID is going to be file name is going to be file name is test.
They've been driving for hours.
I get the file left. So now I have the file. Now we can think about publishing it. So YouTube load a video, YouTube account, let's give this now India. Let's Looks like people have been facing some issues with the YouTube node, so they created an alternative way to actually handle this. Let's see if that actually works. Let me hardcode the title. That was, and also I'll hardcode it for my own tags. YouTube API. Okay. What I'm doing is first it is making a preparatory request to YouTube, and then I'm actually downloading the file and then like actually uploading the file with the response from this first request. Not sure what's happening with this YouTube node. Looks like it's not working for some reason. So yeah, let's hope this workaround works. Okay, looks like it worked. Let's go to YouTube, figure out the content, if it got uploaded. We did a lot of tests, so I think that all got published here. We can remove all this. These are all like the testing stuff that we created. Or we can remove it post actually it working. Any of these upload. Let's delete all this and then do a single one run. See if that works. Right. See if we need to change anything. Video webm, I believe it's MP4. So I think that could also be a problem. save it, delete everything, run it once. And let's hope that it works. Let's hope that it works. It was published as a short.
Welcome to Ravenswood Asylum, where the lines between sanity and madness are blurred. Jenny has been tasked with cleaning out room 314. But as she approaches the door, she hears a faint whisper, "Get out while you still can." It's too late. The darkness has found her.
Go back. Let's okay. It did upload the shots as expected. Just that by default, it did not consider the um, made for kids for some reason. So that's why we're not able to see. But let's check the output.
The engine sputters to life, propelling Emily down the winding road, away from home. It's her sister, but something is terribly wrong. And now she's driving for her life.
Okay, very short stories, I would say.
Welcome to Ravenswood Asylum, where the lines between sanity and madness are blurred. Jenny has been tasked with cleaning out room 314.
Okay, fair enough. So a couple of things that I would still need is a proper title and also the description. Right? And let's also make this long. So this is for testing. We had it's very small, right? And let's also fix the aspect ratio. To start off first, one thing would need is upload timeline media files, create PB execution, and before we create the execution, let me create one more AI agent, which is so what I want to do with this agent is I just want to create the um, title and the description for this. So before we actually work on this, I just want to create the title and description. And oh, maybe, yeah, I think this would be better, right? So this can go here, delete this, then output can come here. So this code node, the parsing can take care of parsing everything with speed. So this is script generator agent, and name title name generator agent. So I have two agents now, which is doing this. It was only taking the description and top one. So probably like we have to change a few things. So this looks much cleaner now. So we have a clean JSON which takes the LLM output, and it cleans a script output as well as like the title and description output, and then puts it as video metadata. Let's test this out if this works. Yep, the script and the metadata both works. So when we are creating the PB execution in the video script, we're putting the video script here, right? The metadata also we are putting here. So if that is the case, we should be able to get that here, get it there. Okay, that's fine. So we'll also think about, so let's save this, delete this. Let's run this workflow once to see like how we are getting the execution metadata, the fetch execution data here. Right. So it will take a few seconds to load, then we'll see. Looks like it's finished. So let's go channel content, see if that was published. Videos. Okay, it's still processing. So probably after processing, it will go there to the shorts. Just move to unlisted for now.
They say that in the dead of night, the house comes alive. The residents.
So that works. So the thing that I wanted to check here was after the fetch execution data, there is a scene timings. Video script is here. Okay, we can write a code node to actually just fetch this, return, parse it and return, right? So now it should have the metadata available. And what that helps me to do is here, instead of just test and test, let me change the sample as well. Test and test, I can use this title right here. And then this description. Right here. So default language is EN, audio language is EN. It's unlisted. Equals false. I think that works. So let's this out. So this should have created a new one. Yes. Perfect. So this video is created now, and then it is in unlisted mode. And now we can review it and then go back. For some reason, this does not work. Maybe that's something that we can debug. But for now, anyway, we are going to manually publish this. We can review this and then manually publish this. We are good. Okay. And one thing that I noticed is that once the video is completely processed, it is automatically published to the short section. You see, it's moving to the short section. Let me delete this forever. Because I don't want anything to be in the listed space. Okay, now a couple of things that I want to work on is actually making this longer. That is one. And before making it longer, I want to also really make sure this fits in the right aspect ratio. So let me go back to UI 82188 if I'm not wrong. Yes. And the empty latent image is actually governing the resolution of the image. So for example, if I put 024, it would be more like a portrait image, not a portrait image, a horizontal image. Yeah. See, so now resolution in 9:16 would be the actual, that creation is handled. Okay, this is a mess. We need to clean this up. Let me pull these guys to here. Right? Pull those guys a little bit towards here. PV execution group, image generation request. So this is where I should change. If you look into the latent image, and it's the K sampler, it's empty latent image, and I need the width to be 720 and the height to be 1028. I think that will fix those. Let me save this. So the next thing was the actual changing the prompt here a little bit. Hope this does not overload the model, but what I'm asking is to asking it to generate multiple smaller scenes so that we can have like a little bit more activity onto there. And yeah, that's majorly it. So let's see what happens. Test the step. You get a note also. So I just, okay, let me remove the 250 words limit to 500 word limit. So let's see what happens. Perfect. I think this is better. So let's save this, delete the current one, and then go to the workflow tool. Or delete this, save it. It's the workflow. Let's see how it's executing. Okay, the processing seems to have finished. Let's look at the content. Yes. Okay, is it in the shots?
The woods were never more menacing at dusk. The wind whispers secrets, no one is home. Sarah steps into the heart of darkness. A happy family, or so it seems. Something doesn't add up in this picture. Evil lurks in the innocent. Nowhere to escape the terror within. Trapped and consumed by darkness forever. The woods were never more menacing at dusk. The wind whispers secrets.
Okay, so this the workflow definitely works. Just that we can improve the prompt generation a little bit. So the prompt engineering can be a little bit more better because each image that I see, each scene does not have the context of the whole story. So like providing that as a supplementary context would actually have some continuity between the multiple smaller scenes. So that is one thing that we can improve on. But I would say, yeah, this project was a success. You can do optimization in multiple places. But yeah, this is a overall success. So to tie it all together, let's actually build a UI to know, give this as a potential package. Right? So now that I know the workflow works, I want to build a small UI where users can ideally sign in and then start executing their workflow. Um, if you think about it, I would want to ideally set up some kind of cron schedule in the future, but let's not get there. First, let's just show all the results till now. It would be more like a dashboard where they see all the generations that they have and maybe create new projects they would want to automatically create the generations for. Okay, so starting off, let's look into what our UI currently is, right? So looking at our UI, it is pretty basic. It's the default Next.js app. So from here, we would want to have a login screen, which is login using Pocket Base, and second, um, next, a way to create a new project, and then look into the executions of the current projects, right? So to have a starting point, what I'll be using is v0.dev. So this helps me build the basic version of the project with very minimal efforts, right? So perfect. I think this works really well. So if we go to, and let's ask him to add login page. Okay, so the login and this page is also there. So what we can do from here is let's copy paste these components. So let's look at the project now. So register you are at best.com. Password is change me register. Okay, that worked. And let's say I want to create a project. So what is the project structure, name, and then theme? Themes can be, what are the possible themes? Horror, facts, comedy, drama. let's also support waterfalls. Drama. So that is done. Let's go here to our UI. Reload this. Name. Select patch. Create the project. Something right. Go to 403. Okay, we got a 403 forbidden. Because projects we have to set API rules, or create rule can be done by anyone. Then list such search rule should be let's go back. Let's create the project. Let's see if the project was created. Yeah, my test project was created, right? Perfect. Now the user is also here. Perfect. Okay, you don't see the project being loaded onto the UI because your project should have the project also loaded. So we select for there was one item, there was 0 items because my condition here is failing for some reason. Let me go with email. That's one of the easiest way to handle it if it's a ID problem. Yeah, it seems like an ID problem. And why did this test project also come there? That is weird. Yeah, I think this might work because this is working in my previous project. Yes, and that worked, right? Perfect. So clicking on view execution should be project/project ID. Okay, it should be renamed to projects. I'm just creating this file so that I can rename this easily. And then I'll just delete this file. Yeah. Now, yes. So now we should be getting this from Let me use P0. Just that I did not give access to the UI component as well. Failed to load. Now it's trying to get the projects, and then that's where it's failing. I think that's okay because executions we have not yet provided the API rules. And let me give access to everyone for now, just to see if that works. This is fine. Let's start an execution for this project actually. So set the mock data to this project. Editor. Save. Start the workflow. Yeah, let's see if that would work. Or even a better, easier way is that we know there is a lot of execution for this particular project. Let's just assign this to the user Shiva. So that would mean that I can just go back, reload. Should be able to see, save changes. I should be able to see the build project as well. Test project. Right. Let's go view executions. There's a failure here. So this is what we ideally want to avoid. This is for projects. It's fine. This is for the project execution. We got that data. Did we get an empty list? We got a list here. So it looks like there might be some other error which might be happening here. It's all use client. Interesting. So I don't have the status created string error. Let me remove that. .id. Perfect. Created. Let's remove the status. Let's remove the error as well. Look.
The woods were never more menacing.
Perfect. I think that works. So all these things are working. Just that if I have to create a new execution, I cannot do it through here. Rather, what I would want is to set up some kind of a cron job so that the executions are taken care of. These errors will go away once it is on a production build, because this is happening because there is multiple instances of the same request running every time on the dev build, which is totally fine, by the way. There is a way to solve it, but I'm not worried about that for now. I need the workflow to be able to run automatically based on a given schedule. So let's see how to have cron jobs in Fast API. Okay, so I know the cron job works now because after startup, every 5 seconds, this is getting like invoked. So that is good. So now the all one thing I want to figure out is what is the schedules that are supported. So you are providing minutes. You like this? Okay, so now I need to let me import this from here. So this is what I want to do. So for every project, I want to iterate in projects and project dot get cron expression, and then ID. So I'll just send the project ID, and then it is invoked every time with respect to the cron expression, right? So let's go back to the project, create plain text cron. So every 5 minutes and every 1 minute, this will be called. Perfect. So now you need to actually call the workflow. So invoking the workflow is the next part here. No, before that, I need to pull all the projects here. So how do I pull that? Basically with this. Backend.api.gets. Let's see if that works. View project.items. Just to know this is executing, right? So let's add a print statement here. Yep. So both of the projects, it's getting added. And since they have a cron expression, I believe like they should be getting executed. So now let's look into invoking init and okay. So let's set up a webhook instead of trigger. Let's set up a webhook. Okay, I'm just waiting for this to hit. So what we actually did was we got the webhook URL from init, and then we are passing in this project ID. I don't know if that works. Just going to work, but just waiting for it to send an actual request once. We have not gotten the request yet. Yeah, it looks like that might be a little bit more complicated. Okay, we got the request, and then yeah, we are getting the project ID as well. So it's pretty easy. So can this in our put this in our environment file. Config.py. And then we'll use that in the main.py as well. Yeah, that worked. So we'll get this invoking every time. Once this is invoked, looks like there is no way to pass in data inside this one. That's a bummer. Hmm. Will be automatically received here. That's what I'm guessing that will happen. Yeah. So let's see what we got. Did not get anything. That's interesting. is going to be let's test this out. That was already sent. Okay, just calling by this and then passing it through that one made it work. So let's set up. So in the meantime, let's update our UI to accept the cron tab expression. Right. So create project. And that's it. So during creation, it does ask for a cron expression. And once you give the cron expression and update it onto the database, once you give in the database, the backend pulls it up and then the backend fetches it during in the beginning and then restarts it. So one con with this approach is that you have to start the backend every time to pick up new changes. But yeah, since this is running on my local, I think this is perfectly all right. But if I want to provide it as an external service, that would be something that I would need to fix, right? Yep, it's generating the image. So ideally, if I go to my channel content, I should have a new video that is created end-to-end. Shots. Yep, I think it's some stream actually.
The streets were always empty at night. But tonight, something felt different. A mysterious key was all she had. As the door creaked open, a chill ran down her spine. She stepped into the darkness within, and what she saw there would haunt her forever. Trapped and alone, she was at their mercy. The streets were always empty at night. But tonight, something felt different. A mysterious key was all she had. As the door creaked open, a chill ran down her spine.
Let's look into something else also that was generated. There was one more. Unlocking the past.
He found the key. In a small town, where memories lingered. He stumbled upon this hidden gem, where secrets were kept. He recognized this key to a life he never knew. A door to his past awaited. He found the key in a small town where memories lingered.
So yeah, that's how we created a pretty insane workflow with AI agents, that is creating the script, generating those images, creating captions, and like adding those captions. So it's not just AI. There are a lot of moving parts involved. So to kind of tie down all the moving parts, we use an orchestration platform like n8n. You strictly do not have to use n8n. You can use a lot of you can use other platforms as well. It has been a really good journey, and I enjoyed developing this. Probably if I get some time, I'll polish this up and publish this onto some cloud hosting solution. See ya.